Upa reflex from the choke. Under, over, isolate. Soda can grab elbow. Trap the ankle. Bridge. Roll. Post. Upa from headlock. Isolate bicep. Trap foot. Bridge. Roll. Post. Upa from punch. Bear hug. Shoulder, shoulder. Pull up. Bear hug. Isolate. Trap. Bridge. And post. Movement technique, the shrimp. The side shrimp. Reverse shrimp. The shoulder roll. The butterfly. Elbows in tight. Isolate the hip. Post. I'm going to drive my elbow through the thigh, milking my knee through, coming forward crotch to crotch. The foot stays hooked inside the thigh, knee against the hip. Here I'm going to sprawl. Looking towards my opponent, left hand, 90 degrees. I'm going to push the knee, work myself into the mounted position. Hold on, Brett, be quiet. You be quiet, no. It's important.
Knee on shoulder.
Knee on shoulder. Gonna isolate. I don't want to grab the belt. There's too much movement here. So I want to go ahead and take the time. I want to grab the pants with both hands. Keep my elbows in nice and tight. From here, I'm going to shift my knee up the butt crack. I'm going to post out 90 degrees. At this point, my feet are together. My knees are 90 degrees apart. I'm looking down my opponent's spine. From here, I'm going to give a nice little thrust, and I'm going to bring my left leg back just a little bit to break this guard open. Once this guard breaks open, I'm going to milk my elbow through. I'm going to swing my hand, thumb down. I'm going to bring my knees back parallel to one another, touching his butt cheeks. My left hand's going to go inside and grab that lapel. From this position, my head is up, my toes are loaded. From here, I'm going to lunge. Thrust my body straight forward. From here, I'm going to walk to the side, letting the body clear. From here, I can move into my side control.
Knee on shoulder, hip check.
Okay, knee on shoulder, hip check. Once again, too much movement in the belt. Don't want to grab the lapel. I want to grab the pants. Take some good material. Good material here. Elbows are in. I'm going to bring my knee in 90 degrees. And once again, we'll post back 90 degrees. Post back. My feet are still 90 degrees like the last one. From here, I'm going to swim under, come up. When I bring my knees in here, he gets smart on me. He takes his right hand, he checks my hip. From this position, I'm like, oh man, he knows a little bit of jiu-jitsu, he's blocking me. I'm going to take my left elbow. I'm going to push it to the mat, isolating the foot. I'll milk my knee through, tight to the hip, because I want to make sure I take away his strength in his leg by overstretching him so he can't sweep me over. Left hand's going to come across. Once again, thumb inside. Left hand, I'm going to reach back like I'm grabbing for a sidearm. Pull my hand through, post the knee, come up into the mounted position.
Boat ramp, cotton ball.
Okay, the boat ramp and cotton ball, one of the most traditional techniques in martial arts. It's been used in judo for centuries. Okay, same thing, but this time here I'm going to bring my hand up. I want to grab a samurai sword grip. 2-on-1. I'll bring my knee between the butt cheeks. Sit back. I'll post my left leg up. 90 degrees. 90 degrees. I don't want my foot so close to the hips that he can grab me. I want to be out of his reach. From here, I'm going to bring my left hand back. I'm going to push the knee open. I'm going to clap, bring my hands through, Bring my knees parallel once again. I'm gonna pull him up my boat ramp. From here, I'm gonna create the cotton ball. As I roll his knees to his ears, I'm gonna bring my left hand inside the neck. My right hand's gonna grab his butt cheeks, above right here, above the tailbone. I'm gonna let him roll so I can land in side control. Okay, mount one. Mount one is used for an uneducated grappler. It could be someone trying to attack down the street, or a basic grappler. From this position, my opponent decides he's going to reach up and try to choke me. Okay, he may choke me, he's going to push me away. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to isolate the wrist, isolate the armpit. From this position, I'm going to lock my arms out, upper body. I'm going to look up, lunge forward, rotating his body 90 degrees off the mat. Once I've hit this 90-degree angle, I'm going to pivot on the balls of my feet, rotating 90 degrees, keeping my weight on his ribs. From here, I'm going to slide down his back, squeezing my knees together. Make sure this thumb is up, and I'm going to pull and set my arm bar. Okay, submission number two. Submission for number two is from a headlock. From this position, my opponent, he's pulling me into a headlock. So just like mount one, I'm going to bring my right hand across, and I'm going to hold this armpit, same position. This time I'm not able to grab his wrist because it's down around my head. I'm going to place my left hand down here by his head. From this position, I'm going to look up, push up, lunge. I'm going to come around and grab my lapel, get a nice tight anchor. I'm going to picture frame this ear, pushing the head into the mat. Once again, I'm going to rotate the balls of my feet, changing my angle by 90 degrees. I'm going to rotate, slide down the back, make sure I'm keeping this thumb up 90 degrees, and set the arm bar. Okay, the next one in mount one is my opponent. He may be a striker trying to punch me, or he's just keeping these fists up and I'm going to catch him before he punches. Okay, two things. I can either grab the wrist, cross grab the wrist, or I can grab the gi. Okay, for jiu-jitsu sport purposes, we're going to grab the gi. We're going to grab the gi, we're going to pull, slap the shoulder, lunge. Once again, shoulders 90 degrees off the mat. From this position, I'm going to rotate, grab my top lapel again, make sure that thumb's a nice angle, squeeze my knees together, slide down the back, roll into my arm bar. Next one. Once again, from the punch, except this time my opponent's going to try to shrimp away from me. So I'm going to go into a submission called the saddle. From here, I'm going to grab the gi, I'm going to pull, slap. As I lunge, he shrimps away. I've lost my angle back here, guys. If I shoot an armbar here, I'm going to fall over his butt. I'm not going to have the angle. From here, I'm going to straighten my rear leg, rotate 90 degrees, trap the head of my shin, sit on the saddle of the shoulder. The saddle of the shoulder is right here in this pocket. I'm going to pull the hand to my face. Saddle armbar. Okay. The next one in mount one, the last one in mount one, my opponent sets up for a shrimp. The good thing about a shrimp is he's committed. He's going to try to push me off of his body. So for him to reach this hip, that means this shoulder's up. That's my up shoulder, down shoulder. I'm going to take my up shoulder, I'm going to place my palm above his up shoulder. I'm going to create a shovel fist. Fingers are flat, not straight. Fingers are flat. I'm going to push through, cup the bottom shoulder. From here, I'm going to push, pull, rotate 90 degrees. Keeping this arm right here at a 90-degree angle. From this position, I'm going to grab my bicep, tricep. I'm going to roll my elbows back to my hip, keeping that 90-degree angle. I'm going to turn his wrist towards his head. Once here, he might freak out and try to straighten that arm. As he straightens that arm, we have a void right here. I'm going to rotate my hips, alleviate this void using my trail hand to pull my forearm. And that, guys, is mount one. All right, guys, at this point, we're going to go into our guard one. Guard one is a very simple succession of movements, okay? So we're going to talk through as we do it. Okay, once again, I'm holding my guard. One of the key elements of guard is having the hip off the ground. Okay, I want to bring my hip into his belly button, bringing my knees forward, controlling my opponent. Once again, the ones are for an inexperienced, maybe untrained, or beginner grappler in jiu-jitsu. Once again, he freaks out, he's in my guard, he comes up for that choke, right? So what I'm gonna do, the same thing as the top, I'm gonna go an under, over, isolate, gorilla grip. I'm gonna take my left hand, I'm gonna call this my soda can grip, iced tea grip, doesn't matter. I want to grab the elbow and I want to turn the elbow in to his hips. From this side, what I'm going to do is, since I'm attacking this arm, I'm going to post my knee on the same hip as the arm I've isolated. And notice my knee. My knee's not all lazy. My knee's nice and tight against my opponent, trapping. From here, I'm using this foot to keep my butt up and twist my butt out 90 degrees. My leg trails up underneath the armpit, over his shoulder. From here, I'm going to keep my leg as close to his head as possible, maintaining this thumb in an upright position, saying, good job, coach, you got me. I'm going to bring my feet to my butt, creating a choke. Here, I'm going to squeeze my knees together and slowly bring my hips up. That's the first submission. Now from here, my opponent might freak out and rip this arm out. When he rips this arm out, come around here and we'll change that angle. As soon as that arm comes out, I'm going to isolate this wrist. I'm going to grab his belt, his pants, back fat, it doesn't matter. Okay? I'm going to rotate around and sit up. Come up here and sit in my modified Indian style. From here, I have an arm draping underneath the back. I'm going to swing my legs out and bring my weight forward to submit in the omoplata. Okay? Now, from this position, my opponent doesn't like this. He goes to a push-up position. I see this head look up. He's saying, you know what? I'm coming up. I'm like, all right, you're coming up with me. I'm going to rotate. As we rotate, I'm going to pull guard back around his shoulders. He's going to base out and sprawl out. So I'm going to go ahead and set my legs up as if I'm going for the triangle choke. The leg near the neck is on the bottom. Right leg over top. Okay? From here, I'm going to pull him into me. Put my hands on the back of his head. I'm going to hold the head and use my legs to push him away as I hip up. That gives a good strain on the neck. From here, that calls us into defend. It's going to bring this arm across my abdomen and try to use all that extra weight to push up. From here, I'm going to release my left hand. I'm going to grab his tricep. I'm going to pull on that tricep, breaking my guard, locking into my hip, grabbing my shin, checking the hip, rotating, closing the triangle choke. Okay? Now I'm going to let Asian man breathe here a little bit. From this position, Asian man doesn't like that. He's gonna try to fight me on this. So he's gonna grab and try to hold. So I'm trying to rip this arm down, grab the small of my back. I'm gonna bridge up and extend this arm right here. Here he rolls his hand, he grabs my bicep, and he's trying to do an arm curl. Sorry about this, Asian man. I'm gonna take my right hand, I'm gonna push, catch, rotate, and pivot my hips so I can take this nice angle and close my arm bar. All right, guys, we've still been talking the ones. Now we're going into our side one, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take Asian man. We're going to lay him down here in front of me. Okay, we're going to pretend like we've been scrambling. I've already got to this position. A couple of key elements or key points. One knee is going to be against the hips. The other knee is going to be underneath the armpit, up nice tight against the shoulder. Like so. Hip, knee. My knee is actually underneath the saddle of the shoulder. From here, I want to bring my sternum on top of his sternum. Sternum to sternum. Head's always looking up. Chest is always bowing to the ground. If you look at my hand here, everyone wants to lean over. We want to bow our sternum down. Get that nice bow, even pressure on the sternum. From here, the arm that's underneath the head, whether it's right side or left side, I want this palm up. Okay? That's going to help me do my arm curl. Now I'm going to do a gable grip. Once I gable grip, I'm going to take my gable grip and pull it in towards my crotch, causing a little bit of pressure right here on his head. Okay? From this position, I'm going to apply even pressure with my shoulder. I'm not rolling my body forward. I don't want to be rolled over. I'm going to bring just my left shoulder forward and squeeze. That's going to break that grip behind my head and cause him to initiate movement. Once he initiates movement, I'm going to rip my hand out and plant this hand to the mat. Now, one of the most common mistakes is everyone tries to pull this arm in. That's not going to happen. Derek's got great resistance from this position. So I'm going to use the weak point. I'm going to use my left hand. I'm going to go through the head. Grab the wrist. I'm going to pull it back in, which gives me a little bit of play right here in the shoulder. Once again, we're using the shovel fist we talked about. I'm going to shovel fist, palm down. I'm going to go underneath the tricep, past the bicep, rotate my hand over the forearm so I can wave to my fans. Okay? From here, I'm going to rip my left arm out. I'm going to place my elbow between our two hands. As I do, it's kind of like the Macarena. I'm going to bring my elbow in, back to the head. I'm going to take my other hand and grab my other elbow. From here, his elbow is high in the sky. I'm gonna apply a little bit of pressure forward on this elbow. That's the scissor crusher. All right, next one, okay? The second one is the modified crucifix. Same thing, nice side control, sternum to sternum, cable gripping, pulling in, appreciate pressure, grab this wrist. Now, when I go under, Derek freaks out and straightens that arm. So I'm gonna continue pushing that arm forward, and I'm gonna check that armpit, and I'm gonna do a push-up. Bringing my opponent into a crucifix. All right, this brings us into the meat and potatoes, okay? Once I'm here, I'm in my side control, I pull him in, breaks the grip, I plant, come forward, grab, pull back. Now I realize he's not concentrating on holding my tricep, he's holding my back with that right hand. So I'm gonna go under, over, I'm gonna grab my own wrist. Once I've grabbed my wrist, now I'm gonna initiate the meat and potatoes of the flow drill. I'm gonna relax my right hand. I'm gonna bring my left hand out. My right hand does not move. I'm gonna grab my bicep, and look how high that keeps his wrist, just that rest position. Now I'm gonna push the wrist down and rainbow up my wrist. Rainbowing up the wrist means we're taking our wrist and making it look like an arch of a rainbow. Okay, from this position, that's a lot of pressure on Derek. So Derek's gonna try to bend that arm to relieve pressure. Once again, I'm gonna release my right arm. I'm gonna milk that elbow as far back into that off switch as possible. Now I'm gonna grab my wrist. From this position, people try to make the mistake of torquing up on this elbow. That doesn't work, there's a lot of play there. What I wanna do is keep my elbow tight against his head, elbow tight against the ribs, and I wanna slide his elbow back to his hips, straight to his hips. A lot of pressure there. They'll tap pretty quick. Now, once again, everything's in succession. As soon as he starts feeling this pressure, he lifts that elbow to relieve the pressure. So I'm gonna go to my baseball bat grip. My right hand is gonna flare out. Grab my left hand, I'm gonna put my head behind his elbow, and I'm gonna push his elbow towards his head. Okay, once again, as soon as I set up for this position, he doesn't like that. He starts doing a butterfly curl. So I'm gonna switch my hips. Going into a Kasakatami position. The first one we're gonna do is what we got to call a gift wrap with a straight arm lock. I'm gonna pull the gift wrap around his neck. I'm gonna reach underneath his head. I'm gonna close the gift wrap. From here, I'm gonna push his straight arm underneath my bottom leg. Gives me that straight arm lock. If I go under this top leg, he's gonna roll me on the mat. So I wanna be on this bottom leg right here. Okay, now, for you bigger guys, you guys that like to work out. Okay, I'm right here. I'm in my baseball bat. From here, he goes across. When I set up here to go for my gift wrap, I realize there's a whole lot of Asian man here. So I'm not gonna be able to close the gift wrap. Notice I'm turning his palm up and setting on his sternum. From here, I'm gonna roll my sternum on top of his sternum. I'm gonna come underneath the tricep. I'm gonna roll up to side control, and I'm gonna bear hug this tricep. I'm gonna squeeze my chest against his chest, pushing his elbows that direction. Okay, that's the compression lock right there. All right, guys, continue on into our technique for your first strike. From this position, now we're gonna go ahead and go into our sweeps. Our sweeps are used when you have a person in your guard, but they're not giving you anything to work with, so we need to transition to another position. So we're gonna go into our sweep drills. This is sweep one. Once again, I'm in a good guard. My butt is off the mat, my knees are squeezing, I'm getting tight. All right, from this position, Derek is being smart now. He's done a little bit more jiu-jitsu, he's been around more than a day. He knows not to reach up here and choke me. He knows to control his arms, and he's a little more cognizant of his appendages. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna get a good grip on this sleeve here. Okay, there's many different ways to grip, but we don't want our thumb inside the sleeve. You guys can do an outside grip, you can do a roll grip. I prefer a roll grip with only my bottom 3 fingers. From here, I'm gonna reach up and control his lapel. Now, I'm gonna open my guards up for the sweep. So if you don't mind coming to this side here, we're gonna change this angle. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open my guard. Notice when I open my guard though, my knees stay together. I'm gonna do a slight shrimp, bringing my knee across his midsection parallel to the hips. A lot of people will come up here. I don't like that because they push into me and then I'm stuck. So I want to come across his hips. Now from this position, my left leg drops and connects his knee, and I try to bring my heel underneath his shin. Here I'm going to pull him into me, straightening my torso, switching my legs. I don't let go of my grips. I come up into a mount position. Then I can start running mount one if I want to. Okay, the next sweep. Same thing as the scissor sweep, except my opponent has a really wide base, or he's just a wide individual, okay? Might be a wrestler with a really great base, might be a little on the not so light side. Okay, same thing, I'm gonna get my grip, I'm gonna set up for my scissor sweep and go, oh crap, I noticed there's a long distance I have to travel here. So instead of coming here, I'm gonna put my left foot on his knee. Once again, I straighten my torso, I'm looking at my opponent, I'm gonna pull him into me, I'm gonna straighten that leg, sweep him over. Once again, I'm gonna right up into my mounted position. Okay. Slap. Okay, the pushing elevator. From this position, once again, I already got my grips. He posts a leg up. Once he posts a leg up, look what he's done. He's made a rookie mistake. He's brought his ankle very close to me to where I can grab it. So I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to push the knee away, plant my foot on his knee. Here I'm going to grab the ankle, I'm going to pull the ankle in, push, right up into my mounted position. Next one, the elevated sweep. From this position, once again, I'm not going to preach grips. I got my first grip, got my second grip. He posts a leg up, except this time he's more disciplined. I can't grab. It's been around, so I'm going to pick my butt up. I'm going to shrink just a little bit, turning my butt towards the foot I want to attack. Here I'm going to throw my foot underneath the knee. I'm going to drop my left foot to the mat. I'm going to lift, turn, mount. Okay? Okay, once again, this is the last one of our sweeps here. You don't want to get my grip. Except now he's like, instead of going here, he breaks his arm out and he posts on the mat. So now I'm going to open my guard. I'm going to sit. Well, close guard sweep. Once again, I maintain my grips. Okay, we're going to go into our break falls. The first break fall is going to be the back break fall. From this position, Darius is going to bring his hands up in front of him. He's going to make it outside, his palms facing out, hands together, going to slight bend of the elbows. He's going to put his chin against his chest. He's going to bend his knees. He's going to squat straight to the mat. He's going to keep his feet on the mat, roll backwards, slap to mat. He's going to sit up like grapplers sit. From here, we stand up in base. Turn sideways, one more time. Back break fall, hands are up, palms facing out, squat, roll, break fall, stand up in base. Okay, the next one will be the side break fall. Left side break fall. You're going to go ahead and you're going to put the majority of the weight on your right foot. You're going to bring the left foot in front of your body. You're going to bring your left hand out. You're going to squat and come into a break fall. Back up. Do right side break fall. Forward rolling break fall is for when you're being thrown from like a sanagi, hip toss, anything of that manner. All right, first what we're going to do is we're going to do it with a little bit of a crutch. I'm going to bring my right foot forward, left foot back. I'm going to put my left hand on the mat, creating a little bit of a stance here, like a football stance. I'm going to create a wagon wheel. Here I'm going to roll over the wagon wheel and slap. Stand up in base. Okay, so step, roll, slap. Stand up in base. Okay, other side. Left foot forward, right foot back, and wagon wheel. Stand up in base. So, forward. Stand up in base. Okay, the next one is the front falling break fall. From this position, my feet are on the mat, hands parallel to my face, head back. That's it. Okay, for your first rep requirement, you're required to do 2 takedowns. The lunging single and the dropping double leg. The lunging single is used for when my opponent is far enough away, we're not able to work grips, not able to grab or get anything, so I need to close the distance. So from this position, I'm going to, left foot's forward, left hand's forward. I'm going to step and post. I'm using my hand to screen the face. From here, my right leg is going to trail and drag. I'm going to drive my left knee to the mat. Notice, when I come in, my knee has not touched the mat. I'm going to bring my head is up, tight against the rib cage, grab the glutes. From here, I'll bring my leg up, trapping the knee, taking my opponent to the ground. Notice I'm maintaining pressure with my right leg. From here, I'll bring my left leg over, trap that shin, pop it to the mat, Flare my knee up, over, side control. Next one, dropping double. My opponent's a little bit closer. I'm able to reach out and touch my opponent, but he's still not geeing up with me. I'm gonna take my ring fingers, I'm gonna grab the wrist. I'm gonna roll my fingers, snapping down and squatting. From here, my opponent wants to rip his hands back up. So I'm gonna throw the hands up, drive my knees forward, suck the knees into me, which causes him to bend over me. Once again, my head's up. When he sprawls, I'm gonna pick him up and I'm gonna pivot him around my head. Side control. Okay, we're gonna do a different angle of these first two. The first one, the lunging single. I'm gonna change the angle so I'm coming at you now, okay? Maybe right here's a good angle. So I'm gonna post step here. When I shoot forward, lunge forward, watch his hips. As I shoot in, boom. See how his hips is already bent over me? That makes him want to either do two things. Either fall down like he's trying to do, or he's gonna reach out and try to grab my hips. Either one he's gonna try to maintain. My leg's gonna come up, I'm gonna trap. I'm gonna pull, drive, leg up, side control. Okay, another angle from the dropping double. I'm gonna grab, pull, squat. He rips the arms up, drop into him. He bends over. Here he tries to sprawl. I support all his weight on my shoulders. Bring him in front, up. Side control. Good job. All right, guard passes 2. Okay, this will be the 2-on-1 pass. What we're going to do is, once again, we don't want to control the belt, okay? Our opponent, he's being a little bit more off-standish, so I want to get a good little samurai sword grip. Elbow's going to be tucked in. My left hand is going to come back and control this knee. I want to try to initiate him to do a guard pass. Once this hand comes up and grabs my forearm, I'm going to come across, I'm going to pull. Once I pull, I'm going to lunge with the same left hand. From here, I'm going to do a squat, 2-on-1, power squat back. I engage with my left hand, so my left hand's going to stay engaged. I'm going to push the knee. I'm going to step back. I'm going to bring the knee through, pulling the arm cross body, reverse sit out, side control. Okay, double knee walk. Okay, my opponent's not taking the bait. My left hand is going to thrust down towards the crotch. My right hand's going to pull back, grab material, push down towards the crotch. Here I'm going to keep my elbows tucked in. I'm going to straighten my arms and I'm going to walk my knees backwards. Once the guard breaks, my hips are going to stay low. Then I can move out to a mount, side control, anything, your decision. All right, thrusting lapel choke. Once again, I'm going to start with this position here. He's not doing anything, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and roll my right hand in and bring my left hand up. So then I'm going to rotate and mirror my hands. Once my hands are mirrored, I'm going to rip the chest open. From this position, I want to pull this hand up. I'm going to take my right hand, I'm going to come across his neck. As I come across his neck, this extra material is going to protect my hand. I'm going to thrust my hand forward. From here, I'm going to take a slight lunge forward, keeping my hips lower. I want to come up past the bicep. If he does, most people at times will tap from here, but if they don't want to tap, the arm that was threatened was the right arm. So I want to clear the leg, let him fall back in, come down, take my side control. All right, standing hip thrust. Once again, okay, I got to get my opponent, he's not moving, not taking the bait. So this position here, I'm going to take my right leg, I'm going to shoot it straight forward. From here, I'm going to post up, I'm going to turn out 90 degrees. Once I turn out 90 degrees, his hips will break. Here, I want to bring the arm behind the leg, clear, side control. All right, the closed guard stack pass, otherwise known as the nasty, okay? From this position, my opponent, Gunner here, is trying to hold me into him. Right? But he's gonna let me talk. I'm gonna be able to talk, so I'm gonna keep my head up. He's trying to hold me into him, so he's not letting me do anything. So I'm gonna take my hands, and I'm gonna kind of find his ribs right here, and I'm gonna pop up into him. Once I pop up into him, I'm gonna come underneath his back, utilizing this grip. I want these knuckles on the spine. As I get him on the spine, I'm gonna throw it straight out. Okay, that creates a lot of pain on the opponent, makes his guard break. Then I can come up, out, into side control. All right, guys, from this point, we're going to talk about escaping side control. If you notice, Asian man there, he's got a nice position on me. First rule is, I got to control this bicep, tucking my elbow inside of his hip. That's the most important part, because if this arm clears, I am now in danger of him submitting my arm. So, once again, get side control. I want the bicep, I'm going to curl and tuck in. Okay, from this position here, I'm going to do a cross face. Okay, I want my forearm coming in the cheekbone area, locking down. All right, from this point, I'm going to bridge, shrimp towards the head. Once I shrimp towards the head, I'm going to bring my right knee all the way underneath my opponent. My left leg is going to come up and hug that belt. From this position, I'm going to take this hand, I'm going to shoot an underhook. I'm going to use my right shin to square my body up. From this position, I'm going to leave my foot here until my opponent starts moving. When he moves, I'll clear the leg, and I'll go ahead and shoot that closed guard. Are we stopping? All right, once again, we're going to talk our second technique. I'm going to control the bicep, get the elbow inside. I'm going to cross face. As I cross face, I'm going to shrimp, bridge and shrimp. Right here, this time my knee would not come all the way through. I could barely hook the inside of his hip flexor there. From here, my left foot is going to come inside of his knee, hooking that knee. From this position, I'm going to shoot my underhook. I'm going to bring my knee, my elbow, I'm going to check this knee right here. From this position, I'm going to pull my left foot, bringing my right arm through, my right leg through. Now from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep my underhooks, I'm going to lift him up with my legs, push him back, and set with a nice butterfly guard position. All right, guys, once again, I got to control the bicep inside the hip. Okay, I want to cross face. This time here, I'm going to bring my hands together, and I'm going to cinch down a little bit, and I'm going to bridge up into my opponent. When I bridge up, because my hips are up in his hip, nice and tight, hip to hip, I bridge up. When he thrusts me back down, I'm going to straighten my left leg, drop down, come into my side control. All right, once again, this is the last one in this series is to get us a scarf hold. What I'm going to do is I'm going to control the bicep, bring the elbow in. Right here, I feel my opponent's being very heavy. He's crushing me. He's not giving me any room to bridge. I can't really work around. So I'm going to cross face, gable grip, and I'm going to pull my hands back to my chest right here. Once I pull my hands to my chest, I'm going to move my left foot out, that foot farther from the head. I'm going to start walking under, and I'm going to switch this arm. As soon as I feel gravity take him away, I'm going to keep a nice tight tension, come up into side control. All right, guys, we're talking backfill drill 1. This will be the first introduction to back. What we're going to do is we're going to come in, we'll be taking the back mount position. When I'm in back mount position, a couple of things is you never cross your ankles. Bad. No, no. Other thing you do, if your ankles aren't crossed, you still don't let them dangle down there. You want your feet pulled back nice and tight into the crotch area. We want a good double underhook. I want my head against his body, rolling my shoulders forward, stay nice and tight. The first one in this series is a cross collar. So what I'm going to do is his gi, I'm going to pop the slack out, bring my hand as far as I can up the other side lapel. Then my left hand's going to come in, grab the other lapel, and I'm going to pull it down, down. Then I'm going to roll my chest back, pulling backwards. Okay, we're going to go from the cross collar. I set my cross collar. Here he's starting to fin. I see him working with my hand. His left hand comes up. I'm going to shoot my hand up underneath. Half Nelson. I want to catch the far side of his head. Here I'm going to pull back with my right hand. I'm going to take my left hand and push his head towards his crotch. All right, guys, I just did my half Nelson here. Once again, he's bringing that hand up, trying to ask me. I want to grab his wrist. I'm going to tilt a little bit to my right, pulling the hand through. I'm going to push it between our bodies right here. I'm going to keep my arm full, right? I'm going to pull back. All right, guys, the arm bar. We know I do cross collar. I come up for the half Nelson. I go for the shoulder crank. During the shoulder crank, he actually grabs my leg, right? He's defending. From this position, I'm going to let go of this left hand. I'm going to come up and grab the head. I'm going to fall to my side, bringing my leg over his head. Notice my body moved, his didn't. From here, I will isolate the arm, roll under, squeezing my knees together, tight against his chest, 2-on-1, and bridge up. All right, guys, the double lapel collar crossbow is one for fun. It creates pain, doesn't work on anybody. If this guy has a big back, I know he's pretty strong. I don't want to mess around with too much. But what I'm doing is before I have a chance to switch my grips, he clears a foot. He takes and he clears my foot. I'm going to open the collar up. I'm going to bring my knee right here to his back, and I'm going to pull and push. All right, guys, mount 2. We've already gone through our ones. Now our opponent's a little bit smarter. He knows better to reach, to try to pull headlock, any of that nonsense. He's a little bit smarter, so he's keeping his hands down low. So we're gonna go ahead and start mount 2. Mount 2 is initiated with a cross collar choke. I'm gonna take my left hand. I'm gonna go between the 2 lapels. We'll pull that slack up like I'm riding reins on a horse. My right hand is going to punch in the lapel. I'm gonna bring it all the way forward. I'm gonna try to make a fist on the ground down here. The way I check to make sure I'm right is I do a little thumbs up behind the ear. Once I get that thumbs up behind the ear, I know I'm right. From here, my hand's gonna pop over. My left hand's gonna flip. You zoom in right here so you see that flip. My left hand's going from my reins to palm up and grabbing this lapel. Okay? From here, I'm gonna pull my left hand, running my right forearm forward. That's gonna initiate this arm to move forward. As that arm moves forward, I'm going to shoot an arm bar just like I'm doing from mount 1. I'm going to lunge forward, pulling him up on his side. From here, my right hand that was holding the cross collar is now pushing underneath that jawbone, creating pressure. I'm going to rip my left hand out. I'm going to go underneath, all the way through, grabbing my own gi top. I'm going to continue applying downward pressure on his head. I'm going to rotate, squeeze my knees together, fall back into my arm bar. Okay, number 2, same thing. Boom, pop, come in, grab, initiate. Once again, this time as I lunge, Derek decides to shrimp away. As he shrimps away, I'm going to settle back on his hips. All my weight's on his hips, he's controlling my forearm. At this point in time, this elbow will be trapped between my thigh and my belly. I'm going to bring my left hand across. I'm paralleling my hand with his knuckles, not his fingers, so I guess that'd be more perpendicular. I'm going to float my hand. I'm going to release my right hand, rip it back, my thumb hits that knot, bends the wrist, pulling the hand back in. From here, I'm going to take my right hand and roll the fingers in. There's the submission. Okay, this next one, once again, I pop in, I shoot my cross collar, I engage, he grabs high on my elbow. He is now hyperextended my elbow. He knows what I'm getting ready to do. I'm going to keep my left knuckles on his sternum. I'm going to post up, sprawl out, sternum to sternum. At this point in time, I have not released my grip. Still holding my grip, pulling his grip towards his belt. As I'm pulling towards his belt, I'm pulling the slack out of my right hand, walking my elbow to the mat, pushing my elbow into his ear. Okay? From this position, he taps, but if he doesn't tap, he's going to try to roll into me. As he rolls into me, we're going to go nice and slow. You can see this. I'm going to release my right hand. I'm going to catch his head, pushing it underneath my shoulder. I'm going to sprawl out, maintaining that pressure, trying to get that submission. Okay? If they don't submit here, he's going to continue rolling. As he rolls, I'm going to disengage his gi. I'm going to grab my own. I'm going to walk over to mount and take that mounted guillotine. The real important part of that technique, guys, is releasing his gi, grabbing my own. Because here's why. If we're in this north-south position, I'm holding that gi and he rolls into a sit-out. I am now forced into a shoulder crank. He can roll me over. He can take a more dominant position. So I want to get my gi, let him hang himself. Okay. Last but not least from this series is we're back up. We're in the north-south area, except he didn't take off anywhere. The guy's pretty smart. He's been doing jiu-jitsu a little bit. So I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to go palm up against his chest. From here, my left hand is just going to trap. I like to slap the thigh, which is going to force him, if you move back to this side, it's going to force him to sit out. As he sits out, we're going to go nice and slow. My thumb is going to come up, catching his arm. I'm going to lunge forward, bringing my knee to his hip flexor. From here, I'm going to come cross body, grabbing inside of his gi, coming into a baseball catcher position, locking that knee down. I got to have that knee nice and tight, angled up. This way, he cannot sit up and roll out. Arm is straight, arm bar. We're going into our guard 2, okay? Little things different in guard 2. Once again, he's not going to try to choke me. Once again, I'm in my guard. I always bring my guard to my opponent. I don't wait for him. I bring my guard to him. This time we're going to guard 2. He's tired, so he's going to pull me into a headlock, okay? He's that guy. He's trying to headlock me. He's trying to stall, maybe pull my head up, keep me crunched, and he started operating on passing my guard. Okay, since his right arm is the headlock, I'm going to bring my right arm inside. Break your grip real quick. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my hand up inside. I want my knuckles right on this collarbone there. A little knuckle rub does not feel well, but I want that knuckle rub. So, he's still holding the headlock. From this position, my left hand's going to come up, and I'm going to grab the back of my head. I don't want to grab his arm. I don't want to telegraph. I'm going to grab the back of my head. From here, I'm going to squeeze my knees together. I'm going to thrust my feet away while bucking up with my sternum. Boom! That elongates him. As he pulls up, my hand will transition out and grab his wrist. From here, I'll check the hip, rotate, come over, keep my arm bar, just like in the guard 1, okay? At this point in time, he does like they always do. They rip out. When he rips that arm out, I'm going to catch this wrist, rotate up, shoot my omoplata. Now, the difference is this time, last time we went to a triangle, triangles aren't that successful, so I'm going to move on. From here, when he boasts up and blows back, if you look at my body composition, I'm off to an angle. So my left leg is going to catch the head. I'm going to rotate 180 degrees, and I'm going to take this far side arm bar, pulling the hand towards my face, squeezing, rolling the feet away. Here, his number 1 defense is he's going to gable grip. When he gable grips, he's going to have a lot of pressure. He's going to bring his 2 knees here together and try to roll out of this and roll those back to get force. As he rolls away, I'm going to throw my right leg, the leg overhead. I'm going to throw it away. I'm going to pull my ankle in, maintaining pressure on this hand. I'm going to come underneath his head. I'm going to grab my shin, and he's going to try to sit back up. As he sits back up, I now close my triangle. All right, guys, side 2. What makes side 1 different from side 2? My opponent's a little bit smarter. He's not dumb enough to, he's getting ready to set up for a pass, not going to sit there. And the way he's going to do that is he's already controlling my bicep, and he's bringing his elbow in, just like I was when we were talking about side escapes. Elbows inside my hip. He's controlling my bicep, not letting me come out to that far side to do a submission. Controlling the bicep, elbows inside. So what I'm going to do is I have to clear this elbow. If you stay over here, E-man, I'm going to show you how to clear this. I'm going to walk my knees towards his hip, rolling him up on his side. I want my knee and thighs to be parallel with this little V right here. As I roll him up on his side, if you notice that elbow came up over here, right here, I'm going to scoop back inside, right here. From this position, he's still holding me nice and tight, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my right knee and I'm going to pop it up. Right here, there's a pocket inside the hip, okay? And place my knee right there inside that pocket. It's going to create a little bit of pressure, okay? From this position, I'm going to pull my hand out. I'm going to grab his wrist. I'm going to plant it on the floor. I'm going to bring my left foot over here. My left foot is going to fan in to his hip. My right foot's going to come up over the shoulder, grabbing my shin. I have a little V right here for victory. From this point, I'm going to roll into my knee. As I'm rolling, my left foot is checking this hip. Checking that hip, changing my angle, closing my triangle choke. All right, guys, the second one. Once again, elbows inside, controlling the bicep. Not gonna spend a whole lot of time talking on that. I'm gonna clear the hips, scoop back in. I'm gonna post up, okay? This time here, as soon as he hits my knee, he starts to shrimp. As he starts to shrimp, I'm gonna pull my right thumb to my face, pulling him up on his side. I'm gonna push his head down. I'm gonna stand around, I'm gonna kick the kidney. I'm gonna grab inside the far side of the knee over here. I'm going to roll back, taking my arm bar. Once again, pay special attention to the knee.
Go.
All right, once again, elbows in, controlling the bicep. Every time I'm going to tabletop these knees, I'm going to walk back inside. I post the knee up, just like the 2 previous techniques. Okay, I come up. As I'm going for this triangle, he grabs his belt. Get stiff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put downward pressure on that wrist. Downward pressure on that wrist, creating a 90-degree angle. From here, I'm gonna come back into side control, flaring my arm over, under, to my own wrist. From this position, I'm pulling his wrist back to his armpit. I'm gonna keep my weight forward on his shoulders, my access, and I'm gonna pull back. Kimura. Felt paper cutter. Once again, everything's set up the same. I come down, I check the hips. As I check the hips, this time I was able to roll him up on the side a little bit. From this time here, I'm gonna bring my thumb inside of his collar, pulling the hand back towards his shoulder, bringing myself back up to the head. From this position, I'm gonna bring my arm around, and I'm gonna come up the spine. What I'm looking at is I'm bringing this arm, palm up, along the course of the spine, maintaining my pressure, course of the spine. I'm grabbing this handle I just created. From here, I'm gonna push everything forward. I'm gonna wrap the forearm around his neck, pulling my hand about to the Adam's apple. From here, I'm gonna bring the elbow down, applying a little bit of pressure, and then all of this force, guys, comes from the bottom right hand. This is miserable, but this is excruciating. Filled paper cutter. I'm not gonna go through all the technique again. What has happened is he's done everything. I rolled him up. I'm in this position. I'm here. I've already brought my thumb inside. Okay, so we know where we're at. I cleared the bicep elbow. I could have already done it. I'm just talking through it. But when I come back up to this position, Derek's no dummy. He rolls back to his back using good jujitsu, right? So this hand was already pre-proposed to come up the back. It's like, hey, I'm supposed to go up the back. But no, it's still gonna come up, and I'm gonna grab inside the collar here. From this position, I'm gonna roll over my shoulder. As I'm rolling, I'm gonna clear this forearm. This forearm's gonna clear around his head. This leg's gonna come up and over, and I'm gonna pull with my right hand and bring my knees together. Guys, on this one here, I'm gonna have Derek run these on me, and I'm gonna talk him through the proper technique. That way, you guys I get a good visual on what he's doing. All right. So, at this point, once again, he brought his guard into me like he's supposed to, right? So at this point, the guard's up everything, and what I'm doing is I'm this guy. I'm posting out. I'm this guy. I'm posting. What Derek's gonna do is he's gonna bring his right hand down, his left hand down. He's gonna grab my wrist. He's gonna sit up, open his guard, and bring that arm up over top. From here, he's going to snap his hips and roll me over. Right there. Can we get in here? So, he's here, he posts out, I sit up, I bump, sweep, over. That guy's flower sweep, okay? What we're gonna do now is, once again, I'm that guy. I'm not post out, but I'm up here, I'm holding tight, okay? What he's gonna do is he's gonna control wrist, he's gonna pick, he's gonna check the knee, right? He's gonna switch his hips a little bit, and then he's gonna kick a leg up, over, and roll. All right, my turn. All right, so I'm here. I'm basically gonna check the knee. I'm gonna switch my hips. I'm gonna kick my leg up over the head. All right, at this point, we're gonna do the active guard passing. I'm gonna do a single knee guard pass. I'm gonna control both his hips. I'm gonna thrust the hip down. I'm gonna break. As I come through, Derek's gonna triangle his feet up over here. Look, guys, did a great job. He brought his feet up. He's triangling. This arm here is gonna come under. He's gonna sweep and clear. This way, he's gonna hip up and roll into me. Okay, here he'll reverse sit out. He'll come into side control. Okay, so it looks like this. I'm here, he breaks down. He brings the single knee through, I triangle, I clear. My most fun of all, this is great against wrestling, okay? Wrestlers are not jiu-jitsu guys. They try to be, they're not. Okay, so I'm gonna do a switch knee. I'm gonna break the guard down, boom. I'm gonna bring my inside knee and through. As I come through, traditionally my head should be down, right? But I'm a wrestler. So he's gonna bring his arm across my body, he's gonna catch, he's gonna bridge up and roll. He's gonna roll up with me to the north-south position. Okay, my turn. Okay, here I am. He breaks me down, knee comes through, arm up, hip, roll. This is all based on timing. All right, guys, the infamous omoplata, okay? What happens here, I'm rolling with Derek. Next thing I know, a lot of times the armbar or the omoplata comes from a failed armbar. He's able to shoot that omoplata. soon as he shoots omoplata, guys, I'm gonna shoulder roll. Okay, I'm just gonna roll over my shoulder. Next one. Once again, he shoots omoplata. This time here, I feel him grabbing myself, so I'm gonna bring my knee up, over, side control. Okay, first one with the shoulder roll, second one, knee comes over to body. Okay, the next one is the gable grip and stack. Okay, so once again, he shoots omoplata. All right, guys, from this position, this is real important. I need to gable grip my hands. Once I gable grip, I'm going to stack him up on his neck, all the way up on his neck. I'll disengage, come out to a good dogfight position. Okay, last but not least, the sit out. Okay, this is the same thing as the gable grip to stack, except he's got a base. He puts that arm out there. So he's got the omoplata. I'm here. From this position, I'm going to sit out. Here. Boom. All right, guys. This is the next couple of takedowns. It'll be 3 takedowns for your second strike. Okay, we're going to talk about the drop tsunagi, outside leg reap, i.e. chopping wood, and then the infamous foot sweep. All right, the first 2 we taught you, our opponent was so far away, we had to shoot a single or drop a double. This time here, my opponent's actually a little bit closer to me, and I can grab, except when I was doing for my double leg, I realized he is stiff as hell. He ain't moving. So I'm going to anchor here, I'm going to spin and drop between his knees. As I drop between his knees, I'm going to bring this hand, shoot it back to his foot, driving my head to the mat. All right, guys, right here, pay attention. This is extra credit. My hand is underneath his tricep. I'm going to pass my left hand to my right hand, going 2-on-1, pulling, making him roll so I can get to that back position.
One.
Okay, outside leg grip, guys. Now I'm able to start doing a little bit more judo in my jiu-jitsu. My right hand is coming up, doing a 3-finger grab. I like 3 fingers. A lot of people try to take all this property. I don't like to do that. At the minimum, 4 fingers, but I like my 3-finger grab, leaving these 2 fingers free. This hand's gonna come up and grab somewhere between the wrist and the elbow. I like to be a lot more closer to the elbow, so when he comes up to gi up to me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna drop, step back as I push this elbow in. Here, that causes my opponent's body to bend. Notice I'm pushing that elbow in. Half step forward, right leg through, leg is straight. Okay? Arm is straight. Now I can move up into an arm bar. Foot sweep. Traditionally, you walk backwards and kick the foot. Okay, what I'm going to do is a little bit of a hybrid. I'm going to actually manipulate my partner. Once again, I'm going to get my judo grips. This time here, I don't want the elbow, I want the wrist. Once again, he's not moving. So I'm going to step past his body. Boom! As I step past, I'm going to rotate my right foot and turn. And he will drop. Okay, back up. Still recording? All right, review. First one, drop tsunagi. Outside leg reap. Elbow in, step back. Foot sweep. Once again, we're in our guard. It doesn't matter where our opponent's hands. We're going to talk kimyotas. Our opponent can be on our chest. Our opponent can be on our hips. Our opponent can be controlling chest and knee. Our opponent can be post out. It doesn't matter. But for simplicity, we're going to go ahead and keep them right here on the chest. I'm going to bring my hands through. I'm going to pray. As I pray, my hips come up. I'm going to rotate right here. My arm is going to come over, around, grab my wrist. From this position, I'm going to rotate back to where my guard was, shooting my double grapevines, tucking the elbow in, keeping the forearm parallel to the rib cage, bringing the hand towards the head. And he taps. All right, guys, this time we're going to talk a Kimyoto flow drill. Okay, just like before, I'm going to pray, pose, come out. I'm going to shoot my Kimyoto. He starts to defend. My right hand is going to release, come around, shoot a guillotine. I'm going to come back square as he pushes down on my elbow with his opposite hand. I'm going to flip my arm. My arm's going to flip 180 degrees, keeping the elbow to the inside. Once again, this left arm's going to come over this time. I'm going to grab, control, square back up, double grapevine, 90 degrees. I'm going to start to twist and he will tap. That's the first Kimyoto sweep. I'm going to shoot a Kimyoto. I'm going to come through. But right here, Dustin grabs the inside of his thigh. He's grabbing the inside of his thigh. He's making it impossible for me to go into my Kimyoto. So I'm going to take my right hand. I'm going to rotate it off of my forearm to his forearm. I'm going to bring my elbow back and I'm going to shrimp a little away from my opponent. Driving my left foot to the mat. I'm going to hip bump. All the way over. Top side. From here, my hand will transition from his forearm to my wrist, pulling my elbow into my hip, rotating, and he'll tap. As this time I shoot the Kimyoto, I come through my grab. When I get to right here, I realize he has a really, really strong grip. Okay? So I'm still gonna rotate, I'm gonna pop up, and my leg still can't reach the mat. He's got that high angle. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hip bump, rotate over to a reverse sit out. I'm gonna hip bump, over rotate. All my weight is on his melon right now. If you notice, my hip is not on the mat. One thigh is on his arm. Come all the way around to a full pan. My arm is trapping his leg. My leg is trapping his arm. My body's trapping his head. From here, I'm going 2-on-1. I'm going to scoop the elbow. Keep my axis over here on this side. I'm going to rotate back, staying on his shoulders. And he'll tap. All right, guys, we're going to talk scarf hold. Scarf hold, the arm's coming around. He's holding his knee. He's controlling. Okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to do what we call an S-mount grip. But not tight. I don't want to squeeze him into my body. I want to hold just light enough. From this position, I'm going to walk my hips towards him just a little bit, changing that angle. From here, I'm going to bridge so his head touches the mat. As his head touches the mat, I'm going to keep my hips up and I'm going to roll his shoulders into the mat, which will bring me to side control. When this is done properly, you should experience weightlessness. If you feel any weight of your opponent crushing you, you haven't bridged enough. When you bridge, you do not bridge up on your head. Chin to neck, bridge on your shoulders. Much more room here. Guys, here we once again, scarf hold. Second one, shoulder push. I'm gonna bring my left hand, I'm gonna put it right here on the back of his shoulder blade. I want to grab as much material as possible. I want to walk towards his hips again, except this time when I hip up, I'm going to push his head to the mat. Pulling my head out the back door. From here, I can come up and start running back.
Yep.
All right, guys, this is the leg hook to mount. What I'm doing is, he's tight. There's no bridging up. He's strong. What I'm going to do is I'm going to bring my left arm over, and I'm going to grab the lapel closest to my face. Okay? From here, I'm going to walk my hips towards his knees. I'm going to bring my leg up and over, hooking this knee. From this position, I'm going to look up, creating pressure on his shoulder. I'm going to snap my heels backwards and look up. He's going to slide out. That grip will pull me back to the mounted position. Then, boom, I can start going into my flow drills. All right, guys, this one here is the leg hook to back. What happens is I have too much of an opponent here. My hand cannot come across and grab that far side lapel. So I'm going to take my near hand and push it under and pull my hand through and grab that lapel right here. Okay, grabbing that lapel. Once again, I'm still going to walk my hips. I'm going to grab this knee. This time I'm going to shoot my right knee under his butt, rolling him over. I can come up to turtle or bring him to back mount. Guys, these are head and arm triangle escapes. The way I'm going to teach these is the most amount of time to the least amount of time you had before you were unconscious, okay? So just remember when we're doing these, it's all about the angles, how much time you have, and how much blood you got pumping to your head. All right, so the first one. Dustin here, he's got me. He set the head and arm triangle, but the good thing is he's on my hips. This is good for me, not so good for him. Could he muscle it? Probably. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna gable grip and I'm gonna lock my arms out. Now I'm gonna take this left hand, I'm gonna push my right elbow through his neck. His grip will break. I'm gonna drive my elbow to the mat, 90 degrees. My right knee is gonna come inside the hip. From here, my left leg is gonna come up over the shoulder. I'm gonna rotate, knee him in the face. Okay, I want his elbow pointing away from me. I'm gonna do a slip arm bar. And he taps. This next one's called the X grip. What's going on here? Dustin said it, except his angle has changed a little bit. Now I got it. Okay, we were here. He's walked himself out. He's in this position. So now I don't have the leverage for the 2-on-1. I'm gonna take my right hand and grab my own armpit. It's gonna take a little bit of effort, but I want that. My right hand is gonna grab my elbow. From here, I'm gonna bridge and twist, bringing my knee inside of his hip. When I get to here, I'm gonna use my shin to break his grip. Pull all the way up to the saddle position. All right, this one here is the leg trap hip switch. Once again, he's got his hand on triangle set. He's created a little bit more distance than the last one. So now this is no longer capable. So what I'm gonna do is called the leg trap hip switch. I'm gonna bring my knee over, trapping. My foot is gonna hook his ankle, pulling it back towards my crotch. My hand will not grab the belt, I'm just gonna push the hip, switch him over, maintain my position, come into a side control. Guys, we call this the leg arm triangle to escape the head and arm triangle. All right, he's got a pretty good angle on me here, right? So, and I can tell, oh, his knee's way. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bridge up, gable grip, triangle, sit up, rotate in, side control. Shoulder roll. This one here, you have no time at all. It's either do or die. You're getting choked unconscious, you gotta go. So what's gonna happen here is Cornbread, Justin, he's got a big angle on me. I'm gonna put my hand down 45 degrees, I'm gonna bring my right knee up and over. Right here, he realizes he's attached to his arm and he comes with me. All right, guys, back to double overs, okay? I'm in this position. The first one is the cross collar, yes? Okay, just like before. The next one is the lion killer. The way the lion killer works is my arm's gonna come across the neck. I'm gonna grab my bicep, I'm gonna bring my palm towards my face, sliding down and squeezing. The next one is the judo choke. I'm gonna come across, gable grip, forearms coming down parallel with his back. All right, double leg collar choke. Got my right hand. Right here, while I'm working this, I feel him breaking my leg. He's bringing it out and over. My hand's gonna come over, grabbing the same lapel, thumb in, my leg's gonna come over parallel. I'm gonna pull with my hands and push with my legs. All right, guys, mount 3, the G suit, okay? Every time we do something, our opponent's the progression in skill. So I'm in the mounted position. He's not giving me anything. I shoot the cross collar, he's still not giving me anything. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my left foot across his hips. My right foot is gonna come up. My hips are still parallel to his. I'm putting a lot of pressure on his abdomen, okay? He doesn't like that. It actually makes his chin come up. From this position, I'm gonna take this shin, I'm gonna post out, bringing the shin across his neck and create a lot of pressure. All right, guys, I've already set my G-suit. I already have my modified cross choke, okay? From this position, this time he's smart. His head is up. He's defending. So I'm gonna flare my knee past his head, catching, rotate on my hip, toes down, catch the far side elbow, modified crucifix. I'm gonna grab the far side elbow and pull his elbows together using my leg to trap the head. Walk around this way so we can see that angle right here. All right, from this position, I have my G-suit still. I have my cross collar, okay? He's controlling my knee. His head is up. All I'm going to do is I'm going to come under, create that little V between my shin and my arm. I'm going to roll forward. I'm going to check the hip, post out, close my triangle, leaving my hand in, creating pressure, and he'll tap. Okay, once again, G-suit. He's controlling my knee, his head is up, he's nice and tight, but he's pulling down on my knee this time. So I'm gonna take this knee, I'm gonna post, I'm gonna float forward, leaving my foot in his armpit right here. Check this angle out. Foot is in the armpit. As I come up, I'm gonna rotate 90 degrees. Knees together, hand stays on the collar, come back, fall back, arm bar. Not least, the go-go plata. This one's done in a real quick succession, so I'm gonna go ahead and start from the mount. Cross collar, pass, catch the chin, roll, go-go plata. Guys, guard 3, once again, we're fighting a different kind of fighter. From guard 1, the guy was able to reach and choke you. Guard 2, the guy was shooting a headlock. This time, the guy's probably really tired. He shot the double underhooks. He's rather tired. He's kind of stalling. So we need to go ahead and manipulate him, okay? So I want to attack the arm that my opponent's not looking at. I'm going to take my right hand, put it over here on the shoulder, grab some material. My left hand will be pre-positioned, so when I hip up, I'm going to shoot across and grab this far side gi lapel. I'm going to bring my knee through, putting my foot on the hip, checking the hip, blocking the shoulder. Right hand's going to push the shoulder away, and I'm going to extend that arm. Okay, from here, he taps. If he doesn't tap, I'm going to take and push the head away, pulling my foot into his armpit. From here, I'm going to squeeze my knees together, grab my elbow, turn towards his head. That'll cause a submission. If he still doesn't submit, I'm going to bring my right hand through my knees, and I'm going to grab this lapel right here. I'm going to mirror my two hands together. So I'm here, I grab, I'm going to push my knees together, and I'm going to push his head away and cause him to tap. From here, if he still doesn't tap, he's going to underhook this foot. As he swims up, I'm going to shoot up into a triangle choke. Alright guys, at this point, this will be the first time in side 3 that we're going to actually use our opponent's gi against him. This will be your first initiation. From here, I'm going to be in side control. Cornbread's holding me nice and tight, not letting me do much. Okay? So, the elbow's not in, so I don't have to worry about checking, but if it does, we know how. So I'm going to pop my knee up just like we were doing for our side 2. Okay? I'm going to pull his gi down. I'm going to pop it. I'm going to pull it as far as I can up. I'm going to pass this lapel to my mouth. Okay, I would be holding this lapel in my mouth while I initiate my movement. I'm going to put the tail in my mouth. I'm going to reach up and grab this arm. I'm going to plant the arm. Once I plant the arm, I'm going to pull the gi tail towards my hand. Passing the tail to my hand and pulling back. Okay, I'm going to do this one more time so you guys can see it without me talking. Gi tail corkscrew, same thing. I'm going to pop this gi. I'm going to bring it up as far as I can to my hand. I'm going to come across. I'm going to check the hip. I'm going to step across the head, take up, driving my knee into his neck. Guys, once again, I'm in side control. This time he comes up and he's going to cross face me. Okay? So I'm going to use this lapel to pull up, grab, isolate. From here, my hand is going to come inside the handle I just created, bringing my knee over his bicep, running my forearm into his neck. Swing baseball bat. Okay. Go. All right, guys. Once again, he's cross-facing. I pull up my sling. I get to here, and I realize I got a little bit of slack. My right hand is going to come up his back, just like before in the paper cutter. I'm going to switch my grip on his hands, bring my thumb up, grab the sleeve I just created, and push. All right, guys, the Bravo. Once again, I'm going to pop this sleeve, this lapel out. I want it flat, nice, smooth surface area. I'm going to pass it up to my hand. From here, I'm going to check the hip. I'm going to straighten my arm, keeping my shoulder on his sternum. I'm going to hop all the way over, grabbing his arm and pulling, and he'll tap.
Alright, so we're going to initiate something called the ghost pass with side control. So first and foremost, I want to come across, I want to set my cross collar, right? Good cross collar, locking him down. So I want to create space by hipping up. I'm going to punch my hand across, and I'm going to grab his belt or hip here. Reason being, I'm going to keep him from walking back into me when I start walking out. So I'm going to walk into my opponent. I'm going to do this a couple times, so I want to bait him. I want to create space. Notice we come around here, I created space. Okay? So when I do it one more time, I know he's going to walk away, so when he walks away, I have the space. So I hip up, I come out, go right into dogfight. Alright, now, we're going to do the corkscrew. Just like the ghost pass, we're going to set it the same way. We're going to lock this chin down, we're going to do a real good cross face. We're going to punch his hand all the way through here, right? So now we're gonna walk, but he's not moving this time, so I wanna shoot out. When I shoot out, I'm gonna shoot out to full 180 degrees right here. I'm gonna bring this leg up, I'm gonna lock his shoulder in so he can't come back into me. This hand's gonna punch all the way through, and I'm gonna gable grip right here. Set up the choke. Here. If he doesn't go, he's gonna roll over. Head and arm triangle. Now we're gonna do our third side escape from here. Do the same thing. We're gonna lock in our cross face. Now we can't get the arm all the way through to do the ghost pass, so I'm just gonna here punch it in. Now what I'm gonna do is he has a wide base, so his feet are out. Here. So now I want to shrimp out, and I'll parallel my side of his. What this leg is doing is helping me find where that leg is. So when I come over, I'm looking for that leg. I gotta go deeper. You shrimp and you pull here. Right? So when I'm pulling here, I'm just gonna reap or pull the knee and come all the way over. Third leg, come out side control. Still maintaining this grip, because now I have positive control for a choke. Alright, now we're gonna do a rainbow keyhole or inverted rainbow. So do the same thing, I'm controlling, but now his hand's stuck underneath my head here, so I can control this. I get a hold of this wrist, I'm gonna pull out from underneath my head, here. I'm gonna lock in just like our rainbow, and just rainbow upwards. Now if he brings his arm in, I have the inverted, still keeping my arm along his shoulder here, one of my wrists, keyhole.
Helicopter armbar. This time, same thing as a suicide. My opponent pushes into me, so I push my opponent back. Then after my opponent pushes back into me again, I'm going to drop. I'm going to set up for the suicide, except he's going to squat into me trying to stop. From here, I'm going to open power guard. I'm going to smash my opponent straight up, rotating them, sitting back into my armbar. One time, full speed. All right, hip check armbar. Eddie's not moving. He's got a solid base. Eric's going to take his right foot up. He's going to check the hip straight, and he's going to hyperextend that right knee. From here, he's going to bend his left knee, turning 90 degrees, bring the leg up over the head, snatching the arm bar. Okay, one time at full speed. They lock up, hip check, drop, squat, leg over, rotate, and arm bar. Alright guys, we're going to talk about escaping the half mount position, fighting from my half guard. I'm going to transition from here to different positions. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to bring my hand, my right hand from being from the outside. I want my hand on the outside to the inside of the bicep. My left hand is going to swim under. From here I'm going to bridge, throw my opponent away. From here I'm going to bring my arm through. I'm going to shoot a gable grip. I'm going to unlace my right leg. My right leg is going to unlace, post till the knee is up. From here I'm going to roll him over my body. If you don't, into a posted up position, my hips are not on the floor. I'm going to sit out, bringing my knee up into a modified case of katami. From here I'm going to roll up to my knees, applying pressure into his neck. All right, same thing. Right hand inside the bicep, left hand underhook. From here, once again, I'm going to bridge, throw my opponent out. As I come out, my foot's going to hook the ankle. My knee is going to post back. I'm going to take my left leg. I'm going to come up into the mounted turtle position. Banana split, same thing. Hand inside, arm underhook. I'm going to bridge, throw my opponent off to the side. As I come up, I'm going to post my knee out. If you notice, his base dropped about 6 inches. I'm going to come under, grab that far knee, roll across his back, gable gripping, bringing my leg over my own leg, pulling the knees apart. Once again, I want to escape this position. Arm underneath, clear. I'm going to post, I'm going to come out. From here, my left foot's going to come back inside the knee. I'm going to pull into my butterfly position. Alright guys, this is back 3. This is the most complicated of the 4 because you have to pay attention to your hand position. So we're going to zoom in on the hand position while we're doing this because it's one of the most important aspects of the back. So from this one here, I have my back, except this time I have what we call a seatbelt grip or an over-under, okay? I like to bring my bottom hand over my lead hand, from this position, right? All right, from here, the first one we're going to talk about is a cross collar. So I want to take my far side lapel, I want to come under and grab. Once again, I'm going to pull down and pull my arms apart. Okay, that's the cross collar. The next one is what we call the bow and arrow over. And what I mean is, he's attacking the leg of my overarm side. Okay, so once again, I'm in this seatbelt position. He takes his hand and he scoots my leg out. Since he scoots my left leg out, I'm gonna keep my left leg in. I'm gonna catch the inside of this lapel. From here, since this arm is over, I'm gonna kick my leg across the belt, bringing this arm underneath the knee. So I have an over, under, and I'm gonna look back and bring my back towards the ground. But once again, pay attention to my hands. This hand's under, this hand's over. Okay, the next one. Once again, same position, except this time he attacks my right foot. Since my right foot came out, I'm gonna leave my right hand in, maintaining this lapel. Now, the difference is this time my hand is under. So when I bring this across his hips, I want my left hand to come over, okay, and then pull back. Okay, the next one. Okay, this one here is a pretty common one. It's not on the list, but it's just an arm over. I'm gonna keep my right hand inside my underhand. Okay, from here I'm gonna bring my head across this to the side that's under. I'm gonna bring my arm over. I'm going to push and pull. Alright guys, this is mount 4. It's going to be your first initiation to a modified S mount. Okay. Once again, we've run through our other mounts. Okay, so we got Eddie's son here. Okay. Once again, what's going on is that I have a guy that he's defending. He's being kind of stubborn. Okay. So for the S mount to work, I actually have to work the top arm. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep pressure on these elbows. I'm going to push his elbows into his face. As I push into his face, I'm going to scooch forward into an S mount. If you look at my position, my right heel is tied against the hip. I got this nice little S looking motion. My left foot's tucked up underneath his back. If you can pan around, look at this side, you'll see where I'm tucked up underneath his back. Alright, from this position, he's kind of uncomfortable here. So I'm going to bring my left hand and I'm going to keep pulling forward on this elbow. I'm going to punch my right hand all the way through. I don't want to stop here. I want to stop when the top of my hand is equal to the top of his hand. From this position, my left toes are unloaded. I'm going to roll back underneath my opponent, bringing my leg over his head. Once my leg's over his head, I'm going to overhand grip my right hand and I'm going to push my wrist bone right through his forearm as I pull. It's pretty excruciating. Okay, the next one's the T-bar. Okay, this time I'm not going to attack the top arm, I'm going to attack the bottom arm. I'm going to push forward, but as I push, this arm slides. If the arm slides, I'm going to move up into my S mount. I'm going to snatch his hand, pulling the arm through, elbow to elbow, elbow to wrist. I'm going to put my hands like I'm drinking water. Okay, this next one is the knee push. From this position, Eddie's defending, but his arms are a little bit lower, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to punch a knee up over his bicep. I'm going to use the blade of my shin to really put pressure on this bicep, like a slicer. And I'm going to come up into my S mount. The pressure of this blade initiates movement from this hand so I can push him into a gift wrap. Once I catch my gift wrap, I'm going to keep pulling the gift wrap, rolling over my shin. I'm staying high on my axis, on my butt, kicking him all the way around. He's going to roll to the far side, maintaining my arm, lock my knee in, squeeze my knee together, roll back into an arm bar. All right, at this time, we're at the next one. This time it's a double elbow scoop. Eddie has worked his elbows to the mat. So after I get done punching him in the face here with my left hand, I'm going to bring one hand underneath the elbow, one on top of the elbow. I'm going to rip the elbow across his body. Once I rip it across his body, I'm going to move forward into my my S mount here. I'm going to roll back with unloaded toes, pushing the head away. I want him looking away from the body so I can attack this rotator cuff. All right, this last one's the pinnacle of your white belt mounts. I'm gonna tie mount 1, 2, 3, and 4 together on this one, okay? Eddie's being super stiff. Oh, he's really strong. So I'm gonna go ahead and initiate with the cross collar choke. Once I get the cross collar choke, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go into modified G-suit. From here, I'm gonna pop the arm up. I'm gonna catch a head and arm triangle. From here, I'm gonna post. I'm gonna move forward like I'm going for my S mount. I'll rotate over, squeezing my knees together, come underneath the wrist, fall back into my arm bar, paying special attention to this foot, staying underneath that shoulder. That's creating my fulcrum for that shoulder. Alright guys, this is guard 4. Now we're looking at a wrestler. Wrestlers are really prone to sitting in the guard with unloaded toes. Okay, the toes are not loaded, they're not active. Okay, typically we keep loaded jiu-jitsu toes, but this time he's going to be unloaded sitting back, and he's going to be sitting back here controlling my hips. A lot of wrestler coming out this time. Okay, so what happens here, Eddie has unloaded his toes, he's sitting back, which should be hard for him because we're pretty disciplined on loading our toes, so this makes it kind of hard. He's going to control my hips, and he broke me off my axis. He's got my tailbone on the mat. So I want to utilize my gi grips. I want to roll 3 fingers inside of each sleeve. From here, I want to bait. Eddie is sitting here. He's stalling. I know he's a wrestler. I don't want him to come up. I'm going to bring my leg up on his shoulder, releasing his hand, giving him the bait to come out and hook that knee. If he grabs this knee and just starts pulling it to the mat, I'm going to pull the arm across, check the hip, and close my triangle. The next one, I'm here, same thing, I post up, he pulls out, he grabs my knee, he lunges up with this knee. Now I'm gonna pull, kick my leg up, and I'm gonna finish with an arm bar. Okay, the next one, right here, I bait, I realize I have a lot of room, so I'm gonna kick all the way across this armpit, releasing the hand, switching out a little bit to the side, pulling my arm up over my head, like I'm checking for deodorant. Here, I'm going to catch the neck and a head and arm triangle. I'm going to gable grip. I'm going to shoot my hip underneath Eddie. I'm going to roll Eddie over. Once again, my hips are high and off the mat. I'm going to sit out, knee forward, roll up, finish with the head and arm triangle. Okay, this time here, same thing, same grips. I come up, big hole. As I come out and pull, Eddie posts this arm over there. I'm like, oh no, Eddie posts the arm. So my right hand, pay attention to the right hand. I'm gonna take my thumb, I'm gonna go thumbs down to Eddie. I'm gonna suck his elbow deep underneath his hip. All the way back up to my side here. If you zoom in right here, you can see how tight I got that. I'm doing a little bit of a chicken wing. I'm gonna hit this hip. I'm gonna roll him over. I'm gonna pull up into my side control, making sure I scoop him up onto my knees. Okay. Last but not least, I'm here. As soon as I bait, Eddie decides he's gonna crush down into me. Rookie mistake. I'm gonna catch him in a go-go plata. Alright guys, this is side 4. Last time in side 3, I used my opponent's gi. This time I'm using my gi. A couple of things can happen. My opponent can have a baby gap gi on, which means it's real tight or too small. His gi can still be tucked in nice and tight. It hasn't come untucked. Or my gi's already popped open. So same thing as before. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have a nice side control, my tailbones down. I'm going to bait my knee up once again, just like in the last one. Just like in side 2, side 3, this time side 4, the knee's still going to come up. The only difference is this time when Eddie's holding me, I'm going to pass my lapel up through to my hand, across his collarbone, across his neck. From here, my right hand is going to replace my right hip. As I replace my right hip, I'm going to drive my head straight to the mat. Here, I'm going to roll over, staying in a nice tight ball. As soon as I hit the mat, my feet will touch the mat. I will look up and pull with my left hand. All right, here we go. I'm in side control. I'm going to bait the knee up, switching that hip. I'm going to grab my lapel. I'm over-exaggerating the movement. I'm going to push my lapel through. My right hand is going to replace my right knee. We drop into side control. I'm going to shift my left knee up between his arm, my arm, applying the choke, knee push. All right, next one. Rolling knee push. I'm here, I check my hip, I pull my lapel through, except this time, my right knee follows the lapel, hooking the armpit with my right foot. I'm gonna roll into the knee, come to my back, applying choke ease pressure. In this position, once I get up in side control, I base my knee up, I pull my lapel through, except Eddie catches on, he tries to shrimp away. As he shrimps away, I'm gonna pull my knee into his armpit. I'm going to sit back and apply outward pressure. All right, north-south drills. We get to north-south by transitioning from side control majority of the time. So once again, I'm in side control. I got a good proper side thing, except Eric here, he's actually launching down on me. So I'm gonna bring my left arm around underneath his neck. I like to grab my knee. I'm gonna check the hip. When I check that hip, I'm gonna rotate my body out, and I'm going to gable grip and squeeze. You done, Tucker?
There we go.
Okay. All right. The Atlas comes from a failed darts. What's gonna happen is when I'm transitioning to my darts choke, Asian man's gonna rip his arm out. I lose the darts, but I'm gonna fall into the Atlas choke. This position here, I'm gonna bring my arm through again. I'm gonna check. As I rotate, he pulls his arm out to this side. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna occupy this space with my chest. Okay? I'm gonna gable grip like this underneath my opponent. From this position, I'm gonna sprawl straight out and squeeze. All right, inverted guillotine. This also comes from a fail. So I shot for my darts, it failed. I went Atlas, my Atlas, it fails. So I'm gonna go to inverted guillotine. From this position here, everything's set to the same. Isolate, trap, I roll, I lose the arm. As soon as he feels me shooting, he tries to roll out. As he rolls out, I'm gonna catch up, hook the hip, and pull backwards. All right, guys, the figure 4 neck crank lock. From this position here, once again, I'm in. I scoop the head, I go. As I take off running, he runs up on his side to try to defend, goes to the infamous fetal position. My left hand's gonna grab my right bicep. I'm gonna pull my right hand up on his back, creating that figure 4. From here, I'm gonna tuck my shin back in towards his foot, and I'm gonna sit like I'm gonna stand up in base. All right, guys. Butterfly guard has white belts. Once again, we're more concerned with escaping the butterfly than running the butterfly. Okay, in my opinion, butterfly guard is for blue belts. Spider guard is for blue belts. Passing though is everybody's game. Okay, so this first one here, the people's elbow. His feet are in, hooking my calves, his knees are up, nice tight ball. Okay, what I'm gonna do is the people's elbow. I'm gonna bring my first elbow, I'm gonna bring it in, isolating the neck, not the crown of the head, but isolating the neck. My other elbow is gonna come in, neck. From here, I'm gonna use my elbows. I'm gonna push him on his back. As I push him on the back, I'm gonna scooch my knees forward and squeeze them together. This position here, it stops him from trying to pick me up. From this position, I'm gonna straighten my right leg, stepping over my left. From this position, I'm gonna scoop his foot, pulling it back into his butt. From this position, I'm gonna release my left hand, I'm gonna put it on his knee, I'm gonna sprawl, come out to side control. Okay, from this position, once again, I'm working. I'm gonna bring my elbow in, I'm gonna push. As he goes away, I'm like, oh crap. I'm gonna come under, and I'm gonna grab his thighs. From here, I'm gonna keep my head down. I'm gonna utilize a little bit of an illegal grip, but it's kind of accepted. I'm gonna take my left hand, and I'm gonna grab the ski pants. I'm gonna pass it to my right hand. From here, I'm gonna reach up, cross his neck. I'm gonna sprawl out, reverse sit out, control those legs, drop, fall into side control. All right, twist and reverse sit out. All right, guys, from this position, my guy, he's got his elbows in, but his knees flared out. If you can pan around to this side, we can tell you what we're talking about. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna bring my right hand, I'm gonna push it between his elbow, his knee, turning my hand back towards my knee. I do not wanna reach up there and grab his thigh, because that lets him know what I'm getting ready to do. So I wanna be extra disciplined and turn my hand back towards my knee. My left hand is gonna come across, grabbing his back here. And if you notice, I'm taking him from this position, and I'm canting him on his butt. From here, I'm going to twist the body, reverse sit out, side control. All right, this one here is the elbow trap and twist. This one here, I don't do it on people that are much bigger than me. I gotta be equal to and about the same strength, okay? So this position here, what happened is his elbow is actually inside of his knee. So I'm gonna take my right hand, turn around please. I'm gonna bring my right hand down, I'm gonna bring it between his knee, and I'm gonna trap that elbow. From here, my left hand is gonna come under his tricep, all the way over, trapping this bicep. You can get a down shot right here. Trapping this bicep. From here, my right hand is gonna come in front of my crotch, in front of his foot, doing a thumb up position right here. From this position, I wanna take a lunge out. Keep your elbow bent. Okay, the elbow's gonna stay bent, and I'm gonna do a twist, and I'm gonna stay up, and my opponent's gonna submit right here. Notice I was real slow, and I didn't let him snap to the mat. I didn't want to break it. All right, guys, of all the butterfly passes, is one of my favorites. This works in the very beginning, couple of seconds of the match, where you catch your opponent off guard when everything's hectic, or towards the end of the match when your opponent's really tired and he's not thinking as well, he's actually trying to stall. So once again, here I'm in an Asian man's butterfly guard. His knees are flared out. I'm gonna take my hands, I'm gonna post him on his knees, pinning his feet against the mat. I'm gonna thrust up, throw my belt into his face, and I'm gonna slide down his thighs into the mounted position. All right, these are the last 4 takedowns / throws you're gonna learn for your white belt technique. The first one is the sacrifice throw to the triangle choke. And the way that works is my opponent, when he gees up, he's got that butt kicked out, he's got his arms straight. He's not wanting to engage in jiu-jitsu. He's is very timid on his feet. So from this position, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna push him back a little bit, make him feel like he's going on his butt to make him push into me. Once he pushes to me, I'm gonna drop to my butt. I'm gonna bring my leg up through the neck. I'm gonna close my triangle. Okay, next one, arm bar. What happens is, same thing, same position. I push, he comes in, but he's really accelerated. So when I drop, that gap is gone. So my right foot's gonna hook the armpit, my left foot's gonna come up over the head, and I'm gonna finish with an arm bar. The standing belt lapel choke. What I like to do is I'm gonna change my grip. I'm gonna go to a cross grip. Now if I go to this cross grip, I'm gonna grip low. I don't wanna be all up in his business here because he can do a flying arm bar or something. I wanna be right here, right around the pectoral area. From this position, I'm gonna snap down and I'm gonna step to the side right here. I'm gonna take a right step, baiting this leg in front of him. Because I want him to disengage and snatch that leg. As he grabs that leg, I'm gonna pull the choke up with my right hand. My left hand's gonna grab the belt. I'll put his head in my armpit. I'm gonna stand up. Now, if this goes to the ground, no problem. He takes me all the way to the ground. I just pull my guard and I still finish with my choke. All right, last one, whip choke. What happens is, same thing. I take the whip throw, I grab, I post here, but he doesn't take it. He's like, this guy's smart. I don't want that leg. I'm gonna post my hand on the mat and I'm gonna whip my body behind him, coming out into side control.